There are so many of you with cool stories about when you found faith, when you just absolutely felt like you were going to explode or implode, and you knew it was time for a change. And so you invited Christ to come into your life. But not every story goes that way. And even in Scripture, even in the New Testament, when Christ was literally, for those 3 years, walking the face of the earth, doing his thing, helping people, saving people, healing people, there's no cookie cutter way that people would come to faith. For instance, Matthew, who is a writer of what we understand as the New Covenant in our New Testament, he was one of those guys that came to faith in a very different way, from a very different context, from a very different place morally, right? So here's what Scripture says in Matthew 8. As Jesus went on from there, he saw a man named Matthew sitting at a toll booth. Y'all know what the toll booth was? Isn't this something? Matthew was a traitor and a thief. He was not liked at all. He worked for Rome collecting taxes from his own group. And where the morality part comes in was not so much on the traitor part, but on the fact that most of those guys levied taxes that Rome didn't even ask for. So they were stealing. Jesus walks by him and you know what he says? He said, "Listen, punk, you're filthy, you're rotten, you're going to hell, you'll never make it." No, you know what he says? "Follow me." That's all he said. 2 words, "Follow me." From right where you're at. And it's interesting, someone has pointed out that Matthew didn't even try to cover up his problem. He didn't try to cover up, make excuses. He just, what does it say? He just got up and followed him. And we understand that later Jesus would actually go and hang out with him and some other tax collectors. And the religious right of that day, the Pharisees, were so offended and they yacked at him. But here's the lesson. When Jesus wants you to follow him, when Jesus asks us to follow him, he didn't say to you or to me or to Matthew, after you get baptized, "Follow me when you learn how to pray. Follow me when you understand Scripture a little bit better." And here's a big one for most of you that are listening. Jesus never said, "Follow me when you learn to behave right." All of that comes different. Jesus wants you to come to him just as you are. Now, the cool thing about it, if you'll read on in Matthew's life, Matthew became a true follower of Jesus. When it first happened, he came to Jesus just as he was in his sin, just as he was in his messy life. But guess what happens? Keep reading. Matthew is a changed man. That's what Jesus is so good at. Is not only does he give us a home in heaven later, but he gives us help now to deal with our messy, sinful condition. So today, the bottom line again, Jesus asks you to follow him. Have you been listening? Look at the number at the bottom of the screen. Reach out to us. We'd love to introduce you to this Jesus.